Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to F1 Manager 24. Yes, we return today. It's the weekend. I thought we'd dive in with another of our F1 challenges from this game. Of course, we've been going through slowly but surely. Last time out, we completed the challenge from Montreal. So we're back today to try and do another one. Of course, slowly but surely over the course of this game, I want to try and 100% all of the challenges available to us. So, of course, we'll have 48 kind of standard race replay ones, and then of course we've got the 5 exclusive scenarios as well. If that sounds good, get yourself subscribed. We're mighty close to 3k subs at the time of recording this video as well then. But today, I think we're going to head to Monaco. I think we're going to attempt to get 18 points with Mercedes here. We've got 28 laps to do it. The game reckons it's a 3 spice level. If I've learned anything so far, that means exactly nothing inside F1 Manager as well. There's not long left at Monaco, but Mercedes have a chance to up their number of points. The vast majority of the field changed tyres during the lap 1 red flag, and with Tsunoda a comfortable distance behind, Hamilton has a free pit stop. With overtaking being notoriously difficult at this street circuit, how Mercedes handles this opportunity will make all the difference to the final point count. So 10 and 8 we would need there. So that's 5th and 6th place in this GP. Yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see as to how this goes then. But, of course, yeah, you know, I'm having fun doing these challenges. I was originally going to do a Zandvoort video this weekend, but I kind of felt that I didn't want to kind of overlap it with the real-life race. There's only so much Zandvoort I think anybody wants to watch over one weekend as well then. So let's just quickly pause up. So Russell is in P5 at the moment. Hamilton is down in P7. Of course, yeah, this is all based on real-world data. So Leclerc and Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris all very bunched up a little bit further up the road there. But yeah, Hamilton, like I said, he's got a huge opportunity. I mean, he can just box now and go straight over to the soft compound tyres if he wanted. I guess what we've got to try and do then is use George to kind of cover off on Verstappen as well then a little bit further behind. Now, I mean, he's gone quite far already, hasn't Lewis? So I think what we'll do is we'll get him to take more out of his tyres and just close in on Verstappen as well. But what we'll do as well, yeah, is we won't dive him into the pit lane just yet. We'll try and just make sure that we can bunch up Verstappen behind. If we can bunch up Verstappen behind Russell, we'll kind of wait and see what their pace is like over the next couple of laps as well then, and kind of go from there. So Hamilton will hopefully close in. Of course, we won't see an undercut or anything like that. Maybe it could be worth undercutting towards the end of this race. We don't really know. But yeah, for us though, the whole idea is just wait and see if we can keep Verstappen back, and just wait and see, obviously, if we can get Lewis to close in as well there. So we'll use a little bit of deploy as well with Lewis. Obviously, we'll make sure we do that on the lap he boxes in as well then. But yeah, like I said, you know, it's just about trying to make sure, yeah, Verstappen cannot find a way around Russell. So I think now then, I mean, Russell hasn't pit either. So I think what we're going to have to do is box Lewis now. We're going to try and get him to undercut. But Russell as well hasn't pit, so I don't know how that's going to affect things towards the end of the afternoon. I guess, I mean, has Verstappen pit? Is there any way we can find this out? It feels like I can't find anything else about anyone at the moment. What's Verstappen done? Tyre history. So everybody's still on the tyres they were on, but I don't know whether a mandatory pit stop is going to be required then. So this feels like a little bit weird at the moment. As there we go, Hamilton in. So just make sure he gets a nice, clean, tidy pit stop as well then. But yeah, what we'll try and do is obviously get him to undercut Russell. Hopefully we shouldn't get held up by too many blue flags either. But I have no idea, genuinely, as to whether anybody else is going to have to pit before the end of this. I guess we won't bother with George unless Max does behind him. And then we'll try to make sure that we don't get undercut. But yeah, Hamilton then making his way back out of the pit lane. So let's try and go their second fastest pit stop. I never see that inside this game. So Lewis then making his way back out onto the circuit. Hopefully, yeah, we're going to be able to take some control. And there we go. We'll go full attack mode on this opening lap. Push on the fuel, push on the tyres. Get them up to temperature, and of course use up all of the battery as well that we've got in the car. The gap hovering at about 20 seconds. So let's just hope that that can come down over the course of this lap as well then. And look at that, immediately down almost 3 seconds in that first lap time there. So that's worked out pretty nicely for us. But of course, again, we've got to then go back to saving everything as well. Yeah, because those tyres, I mean, they will take an absolute beating around this circuit as well then. But that's worked out really, really nicely for us. Like I said, you know, it's more about getting to Verstappen, though. There we go. Max has pit. So we're going to be ahead of Verstappen then. So Russell, we're going to box at the end of this lap over to soft compound tyres. And again, just like we did with Lewis, we're going to get him to go full attack mode as well. Take everything out of this set. Try not to get undercut there as Hamilton will move comfortably. I mean, look at the gap he's got over Max. Verstappen's opted for hards, though, so he might be a little bit vulnerable here. So we'll wait and see what the gap is between him and Lewis. So that's floating at 20 seconds then. So as long as that gap doesn't come down too much on this outlap, I think we should be pretty safe with George Russell still. So we won't get undercut, hopefully, from Max as into the pit lane we'll go then. Hamilton, yeah, I mean, we've got very, very little. I mean, those tyres are going to be cooked by the end of this race. I think if we just bring it back down to light, then maybe we've gone a little bit too early onto that fresh set. As where will Hamilton be around then with George? I mean, he's going to be close on pit exit, but I think Lewis is going to move up. So currently we'll complete the objective. There goes Lewis. Where is George going to be relative to Verstappen then? I think he's going to come out ahead of him, but not by much. So we might just have covered off from the undercut. Yes, we have. Verstappen there still a little way back. And now, the goal is to try and nurse these tyres towards the end then. So Verstappen's still behind. Obviously, we didn't start on a completely fresh set of tyres either, but let's just try and build up a little bit of a buffer. 20 laps to go then of the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, if we can just open up a little bit of a gap then. I think the other big thing is just going to be about making sure that Verstappen, yeah, can't get back past George. Because if he's got better tyres than Lewis to the end, doesn't really matter what happens to Lewis here if Max can't get near them. Oh, no, he's done it immediately. They're side by side still off the corner. I thought we were going to be safe there, but Russell... What on earth is this? How on earth? Russell's not backed out of it, though, I guess. And Zhou, I mean, he's just in the way. So the Zhou or Bottas, sorry. But this is not over. As we make our way down through the tunnel. I mean, George, we've got to go full attack mode again, haven't we? So George Russell, I mean, they're just both stuck behind the Sauber car there, as Verstappen finally might be able to make the move. Now there's even more contact between them. What on earth is that? They're 3 wide. 3 wide off of the corner. Now Russell, I think, has had to back out of it. I mean, how on earth does this work? What is this? This has got to be the dumbest moment I think I've ever seen on this game. The Sauber won't move out of the way, because I think they're worried about blocking either of us. And then we ended up going 3 wide down through the chicane. I mean, look at this. This is the wild bit there. Look at that. Side by side, Russell switches the pair of them off the corner. I mean, now we've got to try and go for it, haven't we, with George? We've got to go for the move back down towards turn 1. His confidence is high. So we've got to try and make this overtake happen then. But yeah, that has not worked out well for us at the moment. Will we see Russell be able to get close enough out of that final corner? He's going to be a little way behind. Come on, can we get the run? Can we get the run? Not quite able to that time round. And that's really not good for us then. Can we do it up the hill? Come on, here we go. There might be a run up towards turn 2. This is sometimes where the AI can look for it. But again, not happening there. So we've got to be careful. We can't afford to take too much out of this either. As Verstappen, you know, he's only what, 6 seconds behind Lewis as well. I don't think there's any chance we can close up on those front runners either. But that's not good for us. That's really, really not good for us right now. So I guess we'll just sit back in and kind of wait and see what happens towards the end of the race there. But yeah, Verstappen on those hards. It's going to be very, very difficult here, especially with all the lap traffic getting in the way and really falling into Verstappen's clutches. I guess what we could do is if we're sitting there with Lewis towards the end, we could try and get George to box again here, as Hamilton's still in front of Max. So let's get George to push on with those tyres, and we might box him again. If he can get up inside the range, then we can try and get him to push again towards the end. Lewis's tyres look pretty good. So here we go. Hamilton then is going to have to be told to go defensive. So we're going to tell him to go on the always defend at the moment. Then we've got to try and, you know, make something happen with Verstappen here if we want to try and make an impact towards the end of the afternoon. And yeah, Lewis now is going to be on the uber defensive towards the end of this GP. But that being said, though, Russell, he's closed back in just a little bit here. I mean, do we box with 10 laps to go? I think we've got to try it, haven't we? Just see if we can make an impact. I don't know whether any of the front runners are going to get... You know, are any of those... Oscar Piastri's pit up in front. So, annoyingly, yeah, I don't think there's any chance we can try and get to them before the end of the afternoon. But, yes... Oh, Norris! We were just out behind him. So, that's annoying. We could have potentially got the jump on Lando here. But we're going to tell George then to box in again. So, hopefully he's going to rock up to the back of Max towards the end of the race. I mean, he's got to take 25 seconds out of him inside, what, 12 laps here. So, it's not going to be easy towards the end. But, yeah, I mean, you can just see Lando there pulling away again. Russell making his way back out of the pit lane. So, yeah, Russell, you've just got to go full attack mode. It's basically 10 qualifying laps to the end of this race. He's still got a couple of slower cars in the way. But, yeah, full attack then. Full fuel usage. Lewis, we're going to just try and get you to tone it back again then towards the end of the race. Maybe just top up the battery a little bit as well. But, again, we have got to be careful that Verstappen doesn't try anything here. As let's just wait and see what those gaps do then towards the end of the race. It doesn't look like Verstappen has got the legs on him down the straight. And Russell, that lap, he's gone, what, 4 seconds faster, near enough? So this is looking still like it's going to be close by the end of the race as well then. I am just scared about what's going to happen to Lewis towards the end. There's another 4 seconds gone that lap as well. You've just got to monitor the tyre temperature though. That's the other big thing. But, I mean, this is horrible, isn't it? Towards the end of the afternoon, Verstappen... I mean, how on earth he made that move on George, I would never quite understand. And now he's made the move on Lewis as well. So Verstappen moving on up.
Now we're watching Max Verstappen here. The opportunity's there.
Just gets the hook up out of that final corner, and that is really disappointing for us. Verstappen makes light work of it. And back up then into P6 of the GP. Or P5 even, I should say, of the GP as well then. So, I mean, we can't box again with both of them, surely. We can't rely on one of the front runners to have issues either, can we? As Sainz, I mean, has dropped back behind. I mean, we're just going to have to go for it, aren't we? We're going to have to try and box again to see if anything's going to be possible towards the end of this race. But yeah, I mean, we're going to drop back behind George as well. But could Russell still get to Max by the end of the afternoon? That lap he was only, what, 2 seconds faster, so it's no guarantee that he's going to get to him by the end of the race either here. As we'll try and go on the attack again with the fuel. And can we just close this gap down? 15 seconds between George and Max towards the end of this one. That gap is just not coming down enough towards the end of the GP there. So unless we get some drama for one of the front runners, which I don't think we are. I mean, Oscar Piastri is all over the back of Leclerc. Maybe we could see an incident between these two towards the end of the GP. It's Norris' new fastest lap of the day. But on to the final lap we go then. I don't think we're going to get anything for our troubles here. I mean, yeah, look at that. Hamilton's re-jumped Russell as well. So I'm not too sure how he managed that one, but not going to be enough come the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. Leclerc has absolutely dominated that one, but 6th and 7th for us. That's not good enough. We need to try and get into that P5. So we're going to restart then. You guys said you wanted to see me feature the fails for some reason in this video. So I guess, you know, we're kind of learning together inside this game. Now, I think what's going to be better to do is try and see if we could get ahead of Lando in this Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton then. So we're going to try and push on quite early. I think with Russell, it might be worth, again, trying to box pretty soon. Going for that undercut, but this time around trying it on the hard compounded tyres. So we're going to dive in the end of this lap with George. With George Russell there. So full attack mode, full push, and deploy. Hamilton, I'm going to try and see if we can get ahead of Lando Norris here. Maybe that'll give us a bit of a buffer later on in the stint. It has given Verstappen, though, free reign. As are we going to see Russell get the jump on Max? There he is, making his way out of the pit lane, so I think that's good. So Russell, is he going to be ahead, though, at turn 1? Yes, he is. That's fantastic news for George Russell, so we can just let him calm it back down then towards the end of the race. And Hamilton then. I think, yeah, we've got to go the other way with Lewis, haven't we? We've got to just try and extend that stint as far as we can. Like I said, it's a shame it's almost too easy to overtake at Monaco. inside this game, because otherwise we could try and just build up a bit more of a gap. I think, yeah, what we'll try and do is we'll go to, and we'll try and save a little bit more with George then. So we might tend to avoid high-risk curbs as well, because I think that will make him slightly slower towards the end of this race. It'll also help, obviously, with the tyre wear. And, you know, if we can get that gap up to Lewis in front to, you know, 20 seconds or so, then hopefully... I mean, the problem is, obviously, Lewis has got no battery. So this might be more difficult than I kind of hoped. I think we've just got to try and wait out with Lewis as far as we possibly can. And then just go uber aggressive towards the end of the stint. Yeah, Russell... I mean, how much is that gap floating? It is going up ever so slightly then, but of course Verstappen now all over our gearbox. So we're going to tell George again, just go defensive here, monitor it at that final corner. But yeah, just use the deploy at that final turn, otherwise we know Verstappen is going to try and go for it. Back down towards someone as well then. So here comes George, Max even trying to have a look. And you can just see again there, we'll defend it back in towards someone. That gap's 16.5 now. Between George and Lewis. I think, yeah, the pit stop will cost you about 20 seconds here. So it is going to be difficult to try and get that balance towards the end of the stint. But, again, on the other hand, if we get Lewis in just behind, then, of course, if he's on those fresher, softer tyres, then he's going to have a big advantage anyway. Is Lando Norris into the pit lane there. So I think it's near impossible to get the jump on Lando. Don't really think that's kind of part of the plan in this race. So, yeah, obviously he was down behind those other cars anyway. So I think with Lewis, if we can get into 60, then he should be fine. That gap still between George and Max is not going down or up, really. So, yeah, that's looking okay. That's looking okay. Of course, we've got to be careful a bit with the fuel usage. Yeah, this is really difficult. Really, really difficult at the moment. I think we'll try and go harvest mode through the middle sector. So, yeah, Max again, though, hopefully won't be able to do anything. Oh, no, Verstappen trying to look for it. We'll go defensive. We'll try and tone it back. And, yeah, just through here, we'll try and absolutely sit in front of him. So, just can we see this gap open up just a little bit more? It seems so ridiculous to be attempting this, but it's going to have to be the way we go about things here. As Hamilton, again, still, he's just about got enough pace in that car. Say, the gap isn't coming down. So, oh, no, here we go. Max trying to look for it. I think we'll just go back up into neutral again then, so... Trying... Oh, Max having a look as well down into the chicane. Don't say he's pulled that off. Verstappen's pulled it off again! How on earth do we keep letting the Dutchman get past us here? So now we've got to go deploy, and we've got to go attack mode. Now we've got to tell him as well, get aggressive with the overtake. Go for it, George, towards the end of this stint. I mean, we cannot let... This is the problem. We can't let Max get away here. That's the bigger issue we got, and you can see immediately he will do, so... Cold tyres for George, they're not working out well for him. You can see now, hopefully, if we can just build it back up a little bit. Maybe now the lap traffic will play into our hand a bit more. No, it doesn't seem to be. So we've still got, obviously, those few other cars, haven't we, that might just get in the way. So we've used all of the battery, though, with George again. How is Verstappen getting on here? Verstappen now, that gap's come down to 9 seconds to Lewis, so... Not optimistic for Lewis towards the end of the race either. As, yeah, George, I mean, he's just getting held up a little bit further behind. So, we've got to box Lewis now. He's got to go to the end of this race and try to just be that bit quicker than those two cars in front of him. So, is he diving in? Yep, Lewis into the pit lane then, the end of next lap. So, we'll get him to take everything out of the tyres that we possibly can. But, yeah, I mean, it's just Verstappen. Verstappen is such a pain inside this game. How is he getting so much good luck with the lap cars? And what on earth is it with Zhou Guanyu not being able to let cars by inside this game? It just makes zero sense to me at the moment. Absolutely no sense whatsoever. So Lewis in. I mean, he's going to come out, isn't he, further behind.
We're happy where we are on tyres.
Yeah, he's going to be out quite the way behind, isn't he, these two? So Russell will... Will Russell even get ahead of him? I think Russell will. But, I mean, this is so difficult to manage. So difficult to work out what's going on. We'll go aggressive on the tyres and just hope that we can carve out some of that gap to Max. I mean, his tyres are slightly more warm, but I don't think that's going to be much concern for him towards the end. So Lewis again, though, he's just going to try and push on the standard mode there. Don't bother using the fuel. We haven't got enough to really warrant it. I mean, Russell's just losing time to Max. His tyres are still cold, so I've got no idea what's happening. But how is he not taking any time out of Verstappen here? He's losing time. He's on full push mode, full attack, everything. And Russell cannot do anything against Verstappen here. This is so weird late on in the day. And I mean, Verstappen might as well get a whole pit stop margin over us right now. So this has certainly not worked out well for us here. And I think we're going to have to get Russell just to let his teammate by. So Russell, we will tell him, don't fight your teammate. It's because he's avoiding high-risk curbs still, isn't he? That's really stupid. Stupid mistake made by B in the end, but maybe now we'll bait Max into feeling he can, you know, he can box again towards the end of the afternoon. As why isn't Russell now letting Hamilton by? Why suddenly now is he quicker again? What on earth is going on? How is he pulling away? This game makes zero sense, man. I tell you what, sometimes. It is so weird. So weird. I mean, we're both still losing time to Verstappen. So I've got no idea what we can do about that. But soft tyre's not working. Hard tyre's not working. I mean, Russell's way under on fuel. This has not gone well for us. We're going to have to try again. What can we do differently here to make this work? That's what I'm wondering. Like, is it... Like, can we undercut Max? I mean, we've just got to try and box both cars ASAP, haven't we? So Russell... We'll dive him in immediately. Hard tyres, go to the end, sir. I'm not going to tell him to avoid curbs or anything like that this time. But we'll stop Max from getting past him. We'll then try and go for a full push with Lewis. Full attack mode, everything. Box him one lap later. And we'll try and get him over to hard tyres as well then. So, are we going to see George in... Sorry, are we going to see Max into the pit lane though this lap? This is the one thing I can't remember. Max stays out one more then. So we've got to try and go longer than Max, I guess, in this race. Or we try and pit Lewis first to get the undercut. That's the other thing we could try and do. As Russell will come out in clear air as well. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for him. As he's hopefully going to be able to push on. Again, attack mode, deploy, everything like that. Lewis is closing in that gap to Verstappen. Yeah, we've got to wait for Max to box then. Here is... There we go. Max stays out. Okay. So, Max Verstappen again staying out. So, this should work really nicely for Russell then. If he can get that undercut on him, which I think he will. Hamilton has completely drained the battery, so we'll get him back into neutral. We'll do the same with George there, just make sure he doesn't run out of charge entirely. And, right, when is Max going to dive into the pit lane? Verstappen's still not pitting. Do we go for the undercut? I think we've got to go for the undercut with Lewis as well then. So, hard tyre's going to go on. We'll get him to take everything he possibly can out of the car this time. He's just trying to save up a little bit of battery, though. If Verstappen pits now, I tell you what, I'm going to be really, really annoyed. Because he's just waiting for Lewis to dive into the pit lane here. So we'll just make sure that if he does, we'll cancel Lewis's box. Although, admittedly, yeah, the gap is going up again. I bet you Max Verstappen pits now. No, he doesn't. Fantastic news. Right, okay, that's good for us. So we're far enough behind with George. I mean, George is going to be ahead of Lewis anyway, but that's not a problem. We're far enough behind that I don't think we're going to get held up by some of those slower cars either. Tyre temperature is looking just a little bit on the high side, so we've got to manage that as we head back out onto the circuit. But yeah, there we go. Lewis then will come out just behind George. And again, it's full push this lap. This is the lap that makes the difference here. The Stroll will get out between us. And now we've got to wait to see when Max Verstappen is going to dive into the pit lane as well then. So Russell will definitely get ahead of him. We are still basing this on a 20-second pit stop delta. So Lewis is slightly outside that at the moment. As Verstappen again stays out for yet another lap. So, yeah, this gap is coming back down. Is Verstappen in? No, he's not. How far now does Verstappen want to go in this race? It's so weird the way there's just a little bit of RNG with all of this still. Now I think we've got the gap. So Lewis, you can afford to go back to neutral. We won't try and take too much out of the tyres. We'll go standard on both cars with the tyre temperature, otherwise we are just cooking them. So let's just try and rein things back in. As long as we're ahead of Max, it doesn't really matter by how far we're ahead, because of course this is Monaco at the end of the day. And George, you can see, yeah, both cars, that gap is coming down. So is Verstappen in? No, how long is Verstappen planning on staying out here? It is so odd the way the AI can kind of be reactive inside this game. There we go, finally Verstappen in. So this has worked out nicely for us. He is still staying on those hard compounded tyres, so We should get both cars out in front. You might even get... I mean, where's Lando? He's way out. So, yeah, we're certainly not worried about trying to get ahead of him. Here comes Verstappen then down to the end of the pit lane. So, George is way in front. Lewis is going to be in front of him as well. So, that's exactly what we need. So, we've utilised that to the best of our ability. Now we've got a bit of a gap over the Dutchman. We've just got to try and manage those engine temperatures. But, yeah, we've got a little bit of time to play with. The tyres will be good towards the end. So we don't need to worry about that. So this works out really, really nicely for us. But again, it's just now a case of Hamilton's going to have to go defensive. We'll get him to just go aggressive on his tyres. I don't want to pit. Thank you very much. But yeah, this works out really nicely. So Lewis is going to be told to always defend. He's going to be told, yeah, just keep Max Verstappen at bay towards the end of this race. We've got 16 laps to go. So let's see what we can do then. Here is how... Oh, how? How has Max immediately made that move? Hamilton's gone straight back around him, though, somehow. So I don't think telling them to sit defensive is the way to go. I think you've just got to tell them to go neutral. So the car behind can't, you know... I feel like they worry too much about going defensive inside this game. And it actually costs them more time than they gain from it. So, yeah, as long as we can keep Max at bay, though, that's all that matters. That is all that matters late on in the day. We've just got to hold him back. Lewis is looking pretty good both on the tyres and the fuel. George as well doing the same just in front. So, yeah, we'll keep managing that. And hopefully now, if you know, we're still pushing with both of the cars. I think this should be safe. You know, that Max hopefully won't be able to get a run on us. But he does get really, really close down into towards those final couple of corners. And, of course, we know just how quick that Red Bull is relative to the Merc inside this game. So... You know, we are trying to hold up a much, much faster car here. But if Albon can do it with Tsunoda and Alonso, surely we can do it with Verstappen as well here towards the end of this race. And I mean, yeah, the gap in front obviously is still opened up. I mean, can we try and do something strategic with the battery management or something like that as well to keep Max back? I think we are just opening up slightly. We're looking a bit more comfortable at the moment. As maybe, yeah, if we can get Lewis... inside the range of George. That would work out really nicely. If we could just make sure that we've got the DRS, we'll tell him not to... Can we tell him to not fight his teammate? Will that mean that he, you know, slows down again? I don't really know. But we're going to try it. Because if we can just get the DRS each and every lap, then that would work out beautifully for us here and not really allow Verstappen to do anything towards the end of the stint. Of course, we know the Dutchman might get a little bit aggressive, but I think that's working. I think by telling Lewis not to fight... We've got a chance as VSC out. Ricciardo's binned it down at turn 1. I don't want to risk pitting. I don't think it's worth pitting. I'll be honest. Verstappen might. No, he doesn't. So that gives us a little bit of breathing room as well there. So DRS disabled. Admittedly only for a lap or so as Ricciardo. I mean, what has he done? Can we even have a look? So he's just binned it down at turn 1 then. So it's those little bits of RNG still that kind of make challenge mode both fun and incredibly frustrating. Inside this game, as I should have saved more fuel with that. I guess we can push on again. Yeah, I guess we can try and push on a little bit more there as we've saved the battery pack as well. So we've got that in the bag ready for those final couple of laps as well then. Right, come on. Just got to keep Verstappen back. Keep Hamilton from applying too much pressure to Russell. They do kind of accordion in and out, don't they, around the lap. But as long as Lewis stays there with him, he'll keep getting the DRS. And I mean, Verstappen can't really do anything towards the end of the afternoon here. As, I mean, we can't really opt to go on the overtake mode just yet, but we will use overtake mode with both cars. So we got a yellow flag. Norris has binned it. Norris has stacked it at turn 16. What's he done? This might make life a bit easier for us. As again, the RNG just playing into effect there as he hits the wall, damages the wing. Is he going to box? Surely Norris has got to pit again then. Between now and the end, no, he's going to stay out there. So not quite sure how that works, but that might mean that we're taking a fair chunk of time at him towards the end of the afternoon. I think we can go deploy now towards the end of the race as well on both cars. So maybe we can just jump away from Max a little bit here. But yeah, surely Lando's got to pit before the end. Otherwise, he's going to lose so much time here. As I mean, if we could get up to him... What's happened? Virtual safety car. Hamilton. Hamilton. Minor front wing damage. What's happened? Is Verstappen out? Safety car. I think we're safe. Verstappen's gone. What on earth has happened? What is this? So Verstappen tried to look for the move. Hamilton defending, you know, giving him the space down the inside. Little bit of contact there. Verstappen's out of the Grand Prix.
Safety car.
Hamilton's able to keep going, so this works out perfectly for us. Because this race is going to end in the safety car then. So, the dumbest way you're ever going to see us win one of the challenges inside this game. But Verstappen out. Tsunoda's a lap down, I think. But with 3 laps to go, surely, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Tsunoda's a lap behind us. Verstappen gets a 5-second penalty for it as well. But final lap of the Grand Prix, Tsunoda's 1 lap behind. Russell's up to P4. What is this? This is so broken, and now I'm kind of happy that I've left kind of the failed attempts as well inside for this video there, because as we make our way in towards the final few corners of the Monaco Grand Prix, gutted that we're not going to be able to get a podium with George in the end, because he deserves it with the way he's driven, but Hamilton has absolutely saved us here towards the end of this GP. He has made it possible. He's taken Verstappen out, which was kind of the only other driver we were battling with inside this race. But as Charles Leclerc then rounds his way through the final couple of corners, it is going to be a Ferrari 1-2. Leclerc makes it through. He is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Could we dare see anything else happen? Could we do a Michael Schumacher? Try and make the move out of the final corner? I don't think we can. Yeah, everybody just trying to put temperature in their tyres. Challenge is going to be completed in the eggiest way possible. I love it. I absolutely love it. And there we go then, Monaco Grand Prix Challenge. Probably the one that is going to have the most RNG, except for Silverstone. I'm still not looking forward to doing that. But yeah, Verstappen and Ricciardo both retiring from the race late on, unlike what we saw in real life. Safety car has come back out onto the track as well then for some reason as well. But there we go. Challenge completed.
Sum up, not least for George Russell there.
Yeah, just shy of a podium, but 4th is still a respectable finish.
Out and onto the podium steps Charles Leclerc, the driver from Monaco, really deserving of that top 3 spot. Always a special occasion here in the incomparable Monte Carlo. They'll be pushing the boat out here tonight, no doubt. And thank you everyone for joining us this weekend here in Monaco.
For the next round, the teams are travelling to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal.
Well, there we go then. We not only just about got the target, but we actually beat it, I think, for the first time inside this game. There 20 points on the board for Mercedes, 1 position gain for Russell, 1 position also gained for Lewis Hamilton as well there, as Lando Norris drops back. Oscar Piastri as well there, dropping behind Carlos Sainz, means that Ferrari end up with a 1-2. But yeah, that was quite fun. Let me know whether you'd like me to kind of feature the failed runs as well, or obviously we're basically trying to learn as to how we do these things. I'm hoping live streams are going to return as well next week. I've just been very, very busy recently. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon with more F1 Manager content.